Good evening. Tonight's scene in New Sarum is set in the apartment, the small studio apartment of Stefan Braunfiedler. He, after last night, he goes over. Oh, he goes over the events of last night, the night before. Or no, yeah, last night. And he's still a bit, he's actually a bit shaken, though he tried very hard not to show it to Axel before, while he spoke to him at his sire's haven, the domain of the Malkavian whip, loaned to Axel as a place to stay. He takes out his phone and a notepad, remembering or trying to remember the number that Clara Fitzpatrick had given him, so that he could call her moving crew to have his piece moved from his apartment to the Rose to prepare for the exhibition. He's moved some things out of the way, made a clear, straight shot from where it is, right in front of his, or more or less in front of the small shower area. Two curtains dividing that, or dividing the moisture, the water from everything outside. He picks up his phone, dials the number in, and initiates the call. It rings a few times. Ah, yes. This is Stefan Braunfiedler. Yeah, I was told to contact you to have my piece moved by Clara Fitzpatrick. Yeah. You can do this. Okay, good. I was hoping you could do this tonight. I have a little bit of time before I have to head off to work. 15 minutes, okay. I did also make the way a lot clearer, so that it is a straight shot from where it is sitting and out the door. You will have to be careful with the stoop and the stairs. More than likely some kind of crane or forklift with sturdy stoops. Yeah. No, of course not, of course not. No, you know how to do it. Good, good. You still have the address? Good. Claire gave it to you. Thank you. Okay, I will see you in 15 minutes. Thank you very much. And you too have a great evening. He hangs up the phone, folds it back, places it into his pocket. He's dressed for work in his usual business casual white button-down shirt, black slacks. Tonight he's not going with his usual black penny loafers. He's going with a pair of slip-resistant, dressy type shoes. Um, he finishes getting ready for work, and waiting until the crew arrives. Turns on a little bit of music, looks at his workbenches, realizing he hasn't had a project for a while. He kind of takes this moment to think about what he wishes to do. He sees the small box with the three pieces of quartz in it, or four pieces of quartz. He paid Sophia for last time he saw her. Kind of. At this moment, he realizes he's a bit too distracted. Can't feel the usual creative juices stirring. He doesn't feel the focus he usually has before he begins a project. Um, Before he knows it, 15 minutes has passed, and he hears a rather loud knock on his metal door. Just one moment. The sound of Stefan's footfalls on the concrete floor kind of echo through the apartment as it usually does. He opens the door, and there's the moving crew. You can see a truck below. Looks like a forklift ready. Oh, please come in. This is a piece. Um, about 5, 6 guys come on in with a very sturdy, very heavy weight um, hand truck. Has a broad base so that the piece can be kind of tilted. It can be placed underneath. Um, it actually has a soft padding on it so that it doesn't scratch the bottom of the marble and kind of elevates it off the floor a little bit. They go to work. Stefan just kind of stands back and well, where most artists being overly concerned for the pieces, he's no less overly protective of his work, but he knows better than to distract the workmen. He doesn't tell them how to do their job. He trusts that they know. Um, and between the 6 of them, they actually call up one more guy so that one can hold the hand truck steady. 6 men get on the piece, weighing a ton, maybe a little less, but close to a ton. They get it up on the hand truck, and while as soon as they do so, they shift where they're going. 3 guys watching the back to hold it steady. 3 guys um, behind it, where the man on the hand truck is, as they begin to tilt it a little bit to get it out the door. The door frame is a little bit taller than most, but then again, this is not your typical studio apartment. This was converted. Um, They move the piece out to the landing. It's a little bit wider, a little bit bigger square than most. It was designed for this. It has proper supports to hold the weight of the men standing on it and the statue, the sculpture. As soon as they get it out, of the door, they stand it back up. The Another man below jumps on the forklift, and after placing some straps and hooks on the top of the mechanism that will actually hold the piece down, they end up starts up the engine, roars to life. He raises the forks, actually comes around to the base of the stairs, and then moves the forks closer in between the railing and the wall to make it a little easier to get it onto the platform. It takes some time. 15, 20 minutes, because they know to be extra careful as per Miss Fitzpatrick's wishes, and so that Stefan is comfortable. Plus, he didn't say anything when they were moving it out of the apartment, so they're willing to do him this courtesy to, be extra careful. He's not a bossy individual. They load it up onto the forklift, and they strap it down very sturdily. And the forklift kind of retracts a little bit, so it's straight up and down, lowers just a bit, with a couple guys standing on or behind the forks. Once it's clear, they kind of hop on so that they can hold on to the sculpture and steady it, just in case. They work so expertly at that, like they've done it a million times or 1,000 times. The piece gets lowered. A couple more guys down by the truck. They open the doors up, and the other guys that were in the apartment moving it, they hurry down to the back of the truck. They they get a furniture dolly ready. The trailer of the truck is a little bit, it might be a little bit taller. Could just be the angle that Stefan's looking at it. But they hop in the back of the truck as the forklift comes around. The forks get very close. The furniture dolly is placed underneath, and with 6-8 guys on it, they are able to very expertly get the furniture dolly underneath, affix the sculpture to the dolly, and they take it to the back. Stefan he has what he needs to head out to work this evening, so he locks the door behind him, as he usually does after turning out a couple lights, maybe leaving one on for security, but locks his door, heads down the stairs to watch the piece getting loaded. The sculpture is put up against like a temporary wall in the trailer he sees, and as soon as it's in place, about the middle of the truck, presumably Stefan believes, to, I guess, keep balance, keep the trailer centered so that it's not off kilter at all. He doesn't really know. They kind of suspend the piece in the middle of the trailer. They wrap very carefully padded moving straps around the sculpture at strong points, nothing weak. And they brace the sides, and then they brace the front of the statue so it's covered. Then they put the straps around the bracing to kind of make like a temporary box. And it doesn't take very long from that moment. Before he knows it, the back of the truck is firmly closed and locked. And Stefan walks up to presumably the lead man, supervisor. Is there anything else that you will be needing from me tonight? And he kind of looks at Stefan. If he pulls out basically a small electronic device that has a little pin. He says, if I can get your signature so that we can verify that you were here to witness your piece being loaded and taken to the roads. Yeah, exactly. Not too used to it, but he quickly grasps what he's doing, signs it, hands it back to the man. Thank you very much. No. I know this next from here. Just be as careful as you are taking it out or putting it into the museum as you are taking it out. I trust you, and you have a very good evening. Man, kind of he looks at Stefan a little bit like, did he just tell me how to do my job? That kind of look, but then he kind of smiles. He realizes he's showing some concern at this point. Kind of smiles at Stefan. Oh no, absolutely, sir. Miss Fitzpatrick would probably not tolerate any pieces being damaged at this point, but yeah, it'll be absolutely safe. Well, you gentlemen all have a very good evening, and at some point, at least after the primary exhibition, you should definitely see it. I recommend it highly. Yes, if we get the time. I'm not really into that kind of thing, but we might. Good. They all hop into their respective trucks. The forklift is driven back up onto a separate truck. All the men eventually file on into their respective vehicles, about 3 in total. And Stefan begins walking to work, picking up a copy of the New Salem Times, maybe another publication. And he begins heading to work, taking his phone out of his pocket after he grabs his newspapers or two. And he calls for a cab to take him to the last resort so that he can start his shift a little early this evening.